Assalamu alaikum everyone, Sam here. It's super late, but I had a little bit of an inspiration for a video, so I wanted to do it now while it's fresh in my mind. So basically, one of my amazing subscribers brought something to my attention that I knew of, and I just didn't, think about it. People have a tendency when you talk about something, something bad or something you're passionate about, they have a tendency to bring up something else. What about this? Well, such and such, what about this? And this amazing subscriber had, in several instances, because I try to read through them, you guys, I really do, until it gets, overwhelming, and then I don't have time anymore. But when I first do, post a video, I try to read through as many of the comments that we get in the first few hours at least. But anyways, so several times in videos when I talk about, a tragedy that's going on currently or whatever, somebody always has to say, well, what about, and a lot of the times I do talk about Muslims more than other groups, but I'm Muslim, and we're honestly being oppressed worldwide right now because the vast misconception that we're terrorists, is causing that, honestly. So, as a Muslim, I want to change that. And it's, if you want to call it favoritism or whatever, I'm sorry to hear that, but I see a problem and I bring it up. And it's not just Muslims. I talk about the racial inequality in America, a lot of stuff. But anyways, usually when I talk about Muslims, somebody in the comments will say, well, what about the Christians, the churches that were burned down in such and such place? Or what about the, somebody mentioned gays being murdered somewhere. I couldn't even pronounce the name of the place. It starts with a B though. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you what it said. I have no idea. But my point is, there's nothing wrong with being passionate about one thing. You cannot focus on every problem in the world. Nothing will change if you focus on every problem. You have to, care about everything, care about all the inequalities and all the tragedies and want difference. But in every conversation, you can't bring up every tragedy. That's just impossible. So, whataboutism is basically the act of bringing up another instance or situation to be able to call someone a hypocrite, to be able to deflect from something that you don't want to talk about. So when I talk about Muslims and people don't want to talk about Muslims, they don't want to admit or come to terms with the fact that there are Muslims being wrongfully, demonized and criminalized and treated like animals and barbarians. They don't want to come to terms with that fact. They don't want to admit that this is actually happening, that we are actually victims in a lot of situations. So they'll say, well, what about the Christians? Well, what about this? What about that? They're just as important. But in this exact conversation, that's not what we're talking about. We'll get to it. We talk about these things. Recently on my Facebook, I don't put everything on YouTube. I don't always have time to create an entire video and make sure that I'm not cussing and that it's something that I can post. I don't always have time to do that. So I do put a lot more on my Facebook. And I did actually share that there was I shared this on my channel as well. I talked about there was a boy that arson attacked 4 historical black churches in the United States, and how he got away with it because his father's the sheriff's deputy. We talk about these things. We do actually talk about these things, but you trying to deflect from the current topic that we have at hand, that's whataboutism. All of these things matter. They do. But you cannot sit there and try to bring up something else to take away from what we're currently talking about. One of the biggest examples that I could ever mention for whataboutism is Black Lives Matter? Why don't all lives matter? They do, but not to you. Because when it's a black life, you treat it differently. It's not the same situation. And then also keep in mind, just like the Black Lives Matter movement compared to the All Lives Matter counter movement, this metaphor I found very handy in arguments. If you've got a neighborhood, a row of houses, right? One house is on fire. Are you going to douse all of the houses in the neighborhood with water? Or are you going to focus on the house that is in flames? Okay, think about that. Oh, there's a little fuzzy just floated past me. That was weird. I think I saw it on camera too. That's why it took my attention away for a second. But I talk about things that I come across that I feel the need to talk about. If I haven't heard about it yet, I haven't talked about it yet because of that fact, it's because I haven't heard about it yet. If I haven't had time, I'm sorry. I'll get to it. If you think that there's something that I should address and bring awareness to, please share it with me, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to spread awareness. I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to make the world less full of hate. I'm sick of worrying about the world that my kids are growing up in. I'm sick of worrying about what my daughter's going to have to deal with as a woman who will potentially wear hijab. I'm not going to assume that she will, because I'm not going to force her to, but there's a good chance that she will, because she already loves it and she's 1 year old. So you can imagine my irritation when I'm trying to make sure that my children will not be victims of hate and discrimination and potentially victims of violence. You know, you can't be mad at me because I want to change that. My priorities are with my family and my children. So when I hear about Muslims being persecuted, I see my babies. Okay? Plain and simple. So when I hear about these things, I'm going to talk about them. And like I said, if you feel there are other things that I should address, share them with me. I have Facebook, you can message me. I have Instagram, you can message me. I have this handy dandy YouTube channel here. You can comment and I will try my damnedest to see it. And if I don't see it here, you know what? I will put my I'll put my email address for you guys. So if there's something that you think I should talk about in a video, send it to my email. Now, that being said, please do not spam my email address with requests to help find you a spouse. I love you guys so much, and this is super random, but I can only do so much in that category. I'm not an expert, I'm not a matchmaker, and this is super off topic, but since I'm going to share it with you guys my email, I need you to understand that that's not what it's there for. So, that being said, whataboutism? Because that was my original purpose of this video. Consider this conversation next time you want to tell me why don't I care about something because I'm talking about something. Doesn't make any sense. It's super late and I'm super tired. But you get my point. I'm sure you do. And a lot of you are probably going to argue with me anyways. So let's have it. Tell me how you feel. I'm tired, you guys. I'm going to go to bed. I love you so much. We'll talk soon. Bye.